As far as I remember, there was just one birthday celebrated when I was 5 years old. After that, when I was part of birthday parties for other kids, I was like, gosh, I don't have anybody to celebrate my birthdays anymore. I felt very rejected. I couldn't make friends. As far as I can remember, I was very lonely. There's nobody to really hear you out, and you can't speak your heart to anybody.
Anupama Dongradive was an orphan, abandoned by her mother when she was just 10 months old. Growing up, little Anu had learnt about Jesus and had accepted him as her savior. But she struggled to understand why her life was the way it was.
At nights, I would cry and, ask God, why me? And why can't I have a normal life, Yeah. There was just that longing for God in my heart because I was so lost, and I know there's just somebody, one person that cares for me, and I know it was God, it was Jesus that did care for me.
Little Anu wept before this Jesus every night, sometimes crying herself to sleep. And then one night, as she was praying,
I heard God speak to me at that very time, and I heard an audible voice, and God spoke to me. He said, Anu, you're going to be a mother to many children.
At the tender age of 8, Anu could not fully grasp what God meant, but she was certain it was Him, and that something deep inside her had changed.
I began to look at other kids around me, and I remember I felt, more pain for other kids since then, that they are just like me, and, they are hurt as much as me, and they are rejected. So I would cry less about my own pain and hurt and rejection, and I would cry more for other kids.
As Anu grew, however, the memory of her encounter with God grew dimmer and dimmer until one day, when she was 16, God spoke to her again, but in an entirely different way. She had moved to Bombay for studies and was working with a small NGO in her free time.
There was a time that a little baby was rescued by the social workers, which was thrown in a trash bin, and it was half eaten by the creatures, and the sight of it was very scary, and I was so broken, when I saw this little child eaten, half eaten by the animals or whatever. This situation kind of brought back what God spoke to me, that I will be a mother to many children. And this child is just right here, and I've got to take care of it.
Anu, however, still had no idea what God wanted her to do with her life. After 4 years in Bombay, she enrolled for a course with an organization called YWAM, where she met her future husband.
That's when I met Silas for the first time, and we began to know each other, and later on we learned that we both have the same passion to care for the orphans, widows and destitute widows, and we felt connected, and that's how we got together in marriage, and we knew that it was from the Lord.
Anu and Silas began working on a project they christened Vanitashray, and in 2001 they started a home for abandoned children and destitute widows. Things appeared to be taking shape until 5 months later, Silas suffered a stroke from which he never recovered.
I was very devastated, and it was like my whole world has collapsed again. It was very hard, and my daughters were 6 years old, Alicia, the oldest, and Sunaina was 2 years old. Years, and another time of your life where you begin to question God again. Silas was a great father and a wonderful husband. So it was a huge loss for me and my children. At that particular time, I just asked God, why again me? Why this at this point? Yeah.
Anu's world had come crashing down around her.
And I just shut myself in a locked room for a week, put myself in a dark place saying, Lord, I have to hear from you. I don't know where to go. I really have to hear from you. And yes, sure enough, little strength I had, I opened my Bible and the Lord spoke to me through His Word. And Isaiah 54 verse 10, it says, though the mountains be shaken and the hills be removed, yet my love will not be shaken and the covenant of peace will not be broken. And God just brought that comfort and the steady support that, He just lifted me up. And I knew it is of God. It is of God.
Anu eventually left that room and followed her calling. More than a decade later, Vanitashray is now home to 18 beautiful girls. Anu truly did become the mother of many children. She has a special message for anyone watching who is questioning the love and the justice of God like she used to.
I would just say that, you go to God and ask these questions. He's not turning you away. He's not saying that I don't have answers for it and I'm not going to answer. Or sometimes we believe that I don't have no rights to even ask God such question. Why me? Why is it happening to me? And things like that. But just be real and honest with God. You can go to God. He understands.